Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Ryan from Seaway Sports Lounge, and look at this. We have our first side-by-side talk. It's Dan Lalonde. He's decided to join me because of the fact there's so many deals going on right now in the NHL tonight. We figured, you know what, let's have a side-by-side chat about what's going on in the NHL, all the deals that are going on. Right now, we have 5 deals that have happened today. Today is March 6th, and we have a bundle of deals that came through this afternoon. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go over each deal that happened, and we're going to give our thoughts about what the deal is. Will it be a good fit for both teams? Who went where? And maybe what are their odds of them improving for a Stanley Cup run? So that's what we're going to do. So first of all, let me introduce. So Dan, what do you think? How are you, man?
I'm doing all right, man. Thanks for bringing me on here. I've been looking forward to this moment for a long time since I started doing Canadian's Corner and such. So
Exactly.
I
You've been
know.
doing a great job, by the way.
Oh
So
yeah, thank you. And I
yeah.
heard everyone I've been talking to love the content as well. So like I said, thanks for bringing me on here. I'm thankful for the opportunity. And like I said,
Oh,
looks like we got a bunch of trades we got to talk about here. So
lots of deals, man. Lots of
yeah.
deals. It's
So
pretty intense. So let's get started. So I'm going to bring it up here. We're going to talk about the Philadelphia Flyers. They were busy today. So the first deal that happened was not in sequential order, but first deal we're going to talk about is the Flyers have decided to move Sean Walker, their defenseman, to the Colorado Avalanche and exchange for a first round pick in 2025 and Ryan Johansson. Now, according to TSN, Ryan Johansson then was placed on waivers and by Chris Johnson. He noted that. And also, the first round pick is a top 10 protected. So, this is a pretty substantial deal for the Flyers. What do you think?
Oh yeah, so I'm thinking, to be honest with you, I feel that I was surprised that the Flyers were selling, being that they're all in a pretty decent playoff spot as we speak. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't heard really much about Sean Walker, but I feel really bad for Ryan Johansson in this case because he's been putting his dues with the team and just being shipped off to Philly just to be put on waivers. I mean, you never want to go through that as a player. So
Yeah, and he has a substantial cap hit too, if I'm not mistaken, plus an extra year on his deal. The thing is, for me, as a guy who actually writes for Flyers content, this is a very unique situation, I think, for the Flyers, in my opinion. They are in a position I don't think they were expecting to be this year. Most people I know that that are Flyers fans felt the team would be again a bottom 10 because of the fact that where they finished last year and the fact that they have a number of players that they have been willing to trade. Now, it's a very strange spot to me because think about it. I mean, you're in a playoff spot, you're pushing a playoff spot, you're comfortable too. Like they're not like 2 points out of like being falling out. They're in.
exactly.
And but the thing is that Keith Jones, their president, and Danny Briere, their GM, has stated on their record that they will sell if they need to. They are not buyers in this situation. So they're trying to stay true to what they've said, which has
Right.
been we're in a full rebuild. I'm not personally convinced it's a full rebuild in the sense that they do have a lot of picks. They were rebuilding to an extent. However, I just think that it's not like that tear it all down, rebuild it from scratch type thing. It's almost like a rebuild retool to me, but that's the way I look at it.
Oh yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I feel like the pieces are there. It's just picking up a couple more things. I'd say, especially goaltending in that case.
Yeah. They
But
do have holes though. They do have
yeah,
some holes. They need to I still think they're a little ways away. I think this year with John Tortorella pushing all the right buttons in the right spots there for these guys, they've really
yeah,
adapted to his style. They still have trouble, like they have no power play to speak of, and they barely score on that. They have other players to do, like to look after, but I think that they're on their way. But getting a first round out of this deal is pretty good, and which is what they wanted for Walker anyway. So
oh exactly. Like you can't go wrong with a first rounder in this case.
no,
So
no,
so
no, and exactly that's the point. Now, granted, it's an Avalanche, so it'll be a bottom tier pick, or well, it
right.
says it's a 2025 top 10 protected.
But you never know, especially when it comes to the draft. You can never there's always that one little diamond in the rough that'll be very surprising to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah. And Philly is going to do all they can. So that's
yeah.
the Philly deal. What we'll do, we'll move to the next one, which is a Canadian team. First Canadian team that made a move today. Edmonton decided to acquire Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick, former Maple Leaf Sam Carrick, if I'm not mistaken, and Ty Taylor, along with a 2024 seventh round pick to the Ducks, from the Ducks, excuse me, in exchange for their 2024 first round and a conditional 2025 fifth round. Now, the Lightning ended up getting in this deal as well. So it was a 3-team deal. I didn't even know that until just not long ago. And they also received a 2025 fourth round in the trade from the Oilers for retaining some money. So that's, as we've said before in our shorts, it seems that retaining money is becoming a thing across the league. And it looks like Tampa, Edmonton, the Ducks got into this. So what do you think of that deal?
Oh, I mean, where do I even start there? Well, first of all,
Go ahead.
you hit it right on the nose because, like I said, many of these teams are right up on the cap hit or right at the cap limit. And that's why I say they need like a third stringer to get these deals done. But obviously, the way I look at it, I say like let's say bolsters the offensive on the Oilers side. Obviously, Henrique has joined a great team, joining with McDavid, Draisaitl, you name the gang. But ultimately, I think when it comes to the Oilers, they're still missing one piece. I'm sure we all heard about it, and that's the goaltending. I mean, like they need to find a number one goalie if they're going to contend.
That's been my view, as I've written as well, is that the Oilers, I mean, these two guys are necessary because their bottom six needed help. They're currently 14th right now in penalty killing in the league, and they need to improve that, obviously. I mean, that's not bad. It's about middle of the road for the league, but when you get into the playoffs and you get that, and Henrique has had Adam Henrique's had a great year in Anaheim, considering how bad the Anaheim Ducks are. He's actually got quite a bit of points. So I mean, granted, he's getting boatloads of ice time, but still, this is the kind of move you need. Now, what do you think? Do you think Holland overpaid for this, or do you think that's right on the mark for what he got? Like, Sam Carrick is also a player who's a very good penalty killer, by the way. Both of them are. Sam Carrick, I believe, is first, and Henrique is second in that team. What do you think? Do you think they overpaid, or do you think this is right in the middle where they should be?
Ooh, yeah, like that's a good question, but I think Holland hit it right on the money. I think so. It's like I would say, yeah, when it comes to the Ducks, obviously we knew they were going to be sellers in this case, and I think like the Oilers are looking to make a big run, and I would say like I think Ken Hall made a pretty good deal here and hit it right on the nose.
Yeah, well, basically, like I'm reading here, it says here they gave up a first and a conditional fifth round, and Tampa also received a fourth round from 2025. So it's not going to affect this year as much. They have a first round, obviously it's gone, but thing is, I mean, you have to pay. This is the thing that it drives GMs nuts. I mean, with the way the trade deadline works, you have to pay sometimes to get these players, like where maybe in the off season you wouldn't pay anywhere close to this. But if the Oilers feel that this guy or these two guys are going to help them put them over the top, that's their thing. I don't know if they will. I don't know if they'll be difference makers. I don't know how much of a difference maker they'll be, but they will definitely help them. I mean, like I said, they've had decent years down in Anaheim, a decent year in Anaheim, but But the thing is too, like here also, just to bring this up, the Ducks retained 50% of Henrique and Carrick's cap hit, while the Lightning retained a decent 25% of Henrique. So Henrique is basically a bargain. Like they basically got him for next to nothing. And Carrick, I don't believe, has a high cap to start with. So that's and he's an expiring deal, Henrique. He's going to be a UFA. That's the other side of the coin. Do you pay all this for a guy you may not re-sign? You know,
exactly.
He's a rental, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was just about to say, like, that's the problem with rental players. They say, like, sure, they make a big run, and next thing you know, say, like, see you later. I had my good run. Now I'm gonna go find greener pastures. You know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to Tampa. Like, seems to be Tampa's a big popular, Dallas or wherever else, or Montreal or Toronto, wherever else you want to go, right? So anyway, overall, I think this was a move the Oilers needed. I absolutely agree with the idea. I see where you're saying about the goaltending. I cannot understand if they think that going in with you have Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell is just above 500 in Bakersfield right now.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it.
Well, we've seen his performance before. He's had good games in the playoffs, and he's had terrible games in the playoffs. You also have Pickard. Do you want to go into the first round of the playoffs with, let's say, Skinner injured, and Pickard is your number one goalie? Like that's basically what I'm understanding.
No, that's not going to work. If that was the case, like I could see the Oilers being swept. If that
possibly in that, and I mean and I know, like, I've read this. I'm not going to spend too much more time on Edmonton, but the thing is, I've read and seen a number of people saying like they need to do more elsewhere, which I do agree with, which they've now done with Henrique and Carrick. But I still think their goaltending is their number one issue. I think that's their biggest, in my opinion, their biggest hole that they need to fix, because A
Oh,
goalie
yes.
can win you the cup like Jonathan Quick did with LA. And I mean, the list goes on and on of goalies that have done this in the past. So
Yeah, let's not forget Aiden Hill last year with Vegas.
Jaden
So
Hill, there's another, you know what I mean? Like now they had a really good defense. Let's not kid
yeah,
ourselves, but still,
right.
Aiden Hill, he did the job and he got in, he took care of it. So anyway,
Exactly.
there's what stands with the Edmonton Oilers. And the next one we're gonna do is the Senators have decided to sell off a
Oh,
player.
yeah.
So they sold off 32-year-old Vladimir Tarasenko. It's not written there, but Vladimir Tarasenko is now with the Florida Panthers in exchange for a 4th-round pick, which will become a 3rd round in 2026 if the Panthers win the Stanley Cup. A 3rd-round choice in 2025. Senators retain Tarasenko's 50% of his salary. That is the deal there. Now, I think I'll go first on this one. Clearly Tarasenko had different thoughts of what was going to happen in Ottawa. It didn't happen. The Ottawa Senators fell flat, and they just didn't materialize. They thought with Korpisalo coming in and all these other guys that they'd have an option as a playoff team. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Tarasenko obviously looked at the team and said, well, it didn't work, so where can I go? And I believe he had a strong opinion on where he wanted to go, and he went to Florida. This bolsters Florida even more.
Right.
And just what I need in Toronto's case is another bolstered teammate in Florida. But I think Tarasenko has lost a few steps in his over time. He had that major injury once upon a time. And then I think it's not going to, I think he's going to help them, but they're pretty good already. But we'll see where he'll fit in the lineup. I guess 3rd line, maybe 2nd line when they need it.
Exactly.
But he's right.
Yep.
And he's going to be cheap. He's not going to be expensive on the cap yet, but he's going to get, he's going to get him some goals. So what do you think?
Ooh, so obviously when it comes to Tarasenko, I think as you said, he lost a few steps. I think he might have been past his prime whenever he was with St. Louis, but obviously Ottawa took a chance. I feel to begin with, Ottawa took a chance on him during this past offseason. So, okay, like this, like a risk or reward. If he plays well, we might have a shot at the playoffs. But obviously, it didn't work out. And being Ottawa being the hostile market to begin with, I feel is just. And I feel like Florida's taking a chance as well because, like you said, Florida's a really strong team to begin with. I think, in my honest opinion, I don't think it was really necessary for them to make this trade. But yet again, I'm not the Florida Panthers GM, so.
Oh, we're just two fans talking. But the thing is that, I mean, Panthers, I mean, they're strong, like we said, but like, I mean, I think defense might have been a better choice for the Panthers. I mean, why not? You can never have enough defensemen, right? You can never have enough defensemen, but I just don't see why. I mean, again, we're not Florida fans either. I mean, it's just, I just think that, I mean, he's a nice depth piece. It's going to help, but anyway, they didn't pay a 1st rounder, so that's good, or even a 2nd rounder. So I think it's a pretty good deal for the Panthers in general, and the Senators get at least a draft choice out of a guy who just didn't work out for them, or just didn't pan out in general for the season.
And exactly, you hit the nail right on the head too when it comes to the defense, because obviously, like if the Panthers are planning on making a big run yet again, they can't rely on Sergei Bobrovsky having like a Vezina type here in the playoffs. I mean, obviously, you gotta have a full team effort here. So,
well, with Toronto knowing exactly what the Panthers did last year and how Toronto got beat up pretty bad pretty quickly in those 5 games. All they do is just run you into the ground, into the ice. It's all they do. But they got that goaltend. They had that goaltending. That's what kept them going. Obviously, Toronto had no chance against that line. But anyway, that's the last year. We'll see what they have this year.
Yeah.
But with the odd, as in, we'll see what the Panthers have this year. But so that's the idea with the Senators. And I don't even just one more note on the Sens. I'm not sure where they're going to go. Like, where do you think the Senators are actually going to go? Like, what are they going to do next?
Oh,
like, what would you? If you were the GM, if you were Steve Stamkos, I mean, what would you do? Like, in your opinion, like, how do you? I mean, Ottawa has a good core of players. Like, I like Josh Norris. I like I like a number of their players. Like, they have good players, but they just, in terms of that, I just don't know where they go. Like, they just can't seem to get it going.
No, exactly. Like I said, you've already locked up Shabbat and Kachuk on long-term years, but who knows? Like, I don't know how much more they could stand of mediocre hockey, and obviously, like if they keep missing playoffs year after year after year, then I could see him being wanting out. and like that's always been the problem. Like, sure, you build up all these nice players, but eventually, if they're gonna grow tired of like missing playoffs all the time, and they're gonna want to be going elsewhere. So
Well, they already had Brady Kachuk saying that. He was like, "This isn't fun." He was said that
no,
a few weeks ago, I think, or about a month ago. They asked him in the crowd, and he or in off after the
yeah,
game, and he's like, "The losing's not fun, and this is not very much fun at all." But I mean, he's locked up for a long time, so he's not going anywhere. I don't think there was
no,
chatter that he might have been being shopped by Ottawa, but I don't see that happening. I mean, he's their captain, he's their
no.
guy. He's there to stay, in my opinion. But
Yeah, exactly. Let's come back to Kachuk in a few years. We'll see what
yeah,
happens.
exactly. Colorado was busy today. They did two big deals. They made another deal here. They ended up acquiring Casey Middlestat from the Sabres in exchange for Bowen Byram. This was a surprise. Obviously, McCarr being where he is as a player, and Bowen Byram has been touted as a potential McCarr in the future. They obviously felt they wanted to move away from him, I think. I mean, what do you think of this deal? I don't know much about Middlestat. What do you know much about him?
Well,
I
yeah, I
know.
did see Middlestad play for you. Like he showed some great potential. Obviously, Buffalo like is like right in the middle there too. I find sometimes, but like to me, Middlestad shows some promise. So I would say like possibly like a good second, maybe third liner when it comes to
Okay,
Colorado.
great.
But yeah, so but obviously, but if we come back to Bowen Byram, it's like obviously like he was part of that cup winning team there a few years back, but obviously
Right.
you got to feel bad for Byram in this case because like especially the nature of the business, sometimes you get the short end of the stick, and that's how I feel what's happening here with Byram.
The Sabres, as we both know, just can't seem to get it together over the last number of years.
Yeah.
And they've been, a great team up front, and they crash and burn like with by the end of the year. I mean, Bowen Byram's going to help them. I just think Middlestat will help the Avalanche. Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, Bowen Byram, it's too bad, but that's like you say, nature of the business. And
Yeah.
this just came in actually just before we started, everyone, just so we know. This was just about maybe 25 minutes ago. Golden Knights, believe it or not, acquired Noah Hanifin, the defenseman from Calgary. Now, I haven't seen what the full package is. I'll do a refresh. What do you think, Dan?
Oh my god. I mean, I feel the Golden Knights are doing some salary cap tomfoolery over here because obviously, I know when you talked in your previous short, like they put Mark Stone on long term IR due to like lacerated spleen. Yeah, I'm starting to question their motives here. I mean, it's like there's no way the Knights could be pulling this off.
Well, they managed to do it. I mean, granted, a lacerated spleen. I mean, that's real. I mean, that's he did get hurt, but
Yeah,
it's always a question mark, right? I mean, they've done this a
yeah,
few years in a row, and let's be honest, there's other teams that have done it as well. They've
yeah.
done some
Especially
interesting.
Kucherov with Tampa. Yeah,
Well, he's the main one, right? He's the
yeah,
one that did it the most, and whether he was healthy or not, it doesn't matter. They did it, and it was okay. But the thing is, it's legal by the NHL. There's
yeah.
no one has turned around and said it needs to be addressed yet. So, and I
Oh
mean,
man.
I don't know, but Hanifin going to the Golden Knights,
Oh yeah,
eh,
that's gonna
like
bolster the D line.
that's incredible. To be honest with you, that is a great. And it also says here, just so you know, guys, everyone, I haven't fully put this on the thing. Apparently, apparently he's in the process of getting a contract extension with the Golden Knights.
Wow.
He's there to stay. So, and I mean, that was always the case with this deal. They always said that Hanifin would go to a place and he would sign there. That's what he wanted. Now, Tampa, as we all know, was his preferred choice. Now, what I'm thinking, if he's going to Vegas and staying there, obviously the state tax laws, and he is American, I might add, from
Right.
Boston, he will now shelter his earnings quite well because Florida
Yeah.
does not have any income state income tax, and neither does Nevada. So
No.
he's clearly choosing to follow a lot of what people say in terms of, especially American players, going back up to America to help them with that. But he's doing now. We don't know what the extension is, by the way, and
Right.
at the moment we don't have the full background of what this trade is. Now, what we could do is later on we could actually I could create a short, or you could, and we can kind of give an update on this deal. But it is something I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Obviously.
so Vegas Golden Knights is now with Noah Hanifin.
Oh yeah, they're starting
Incredible.
to look like they want to repeat there. So yeah,
Oh,
shocker.
they have the team that's good enough to do it. It's just
Yeah.
they've had these selective injuries that have happened, and
Yeah.
it's interesting to see where they're going to go. But Hanifin, like they all thought he wanted to go to Tampa. He wanted to go to Tampa, but Tampa doesn't have the assets to make any moves.
Exactly.
Brisbois put all of his chips in the middle every year for the last like 3 seasons, and he doesn't, like, after paying what he paid for Janot, and he paid a heavy price for him,
right?
And now you've got this going on. He could have gotten Noah Hanifin, it didn't happen. So because they lost Sergachev, right? So they could have used a guy like Hanifin to replace him until whatever, right?
I know, going off topic there. I don't know, should we talk about it? But that just gives like a good indication of like how Stamkos is going to approach the offseason when it comes to Tampa. So
no, I have no problem talking about this stuff. This is all kind of part of it, right? This is kind of what this channel's doing too, is if you see, like, we talk about whatever, like I'm going to bring up something else in a few seconds. But yes, Stammer, I think Tampa's going to go through a bit of a shift here. I don't think the whole team is going to survive. I think it's going to change. I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are due for a change, in my opinion. They're an aging franchise. Their players have done well. They've gotten a few cups out of them and cup finals. So the natural course of a team, it's going to eventually shift. So I think if Stammer decides to call it and go somewhere else, it wouldn't surprise me. Now he's enjoying his time in Tampa, as far as I understand. They've treated him very well. They've given him a lot of money. He may change it. He may go on a shorter term deal. He may go shorter term, more money, or I don't know. I have no idea what his ideas are, of course.
Yeah, I would say when it comes to Brisebois, I like take a team friendly deal, or I think Stammer's on his way out. So.
Yeah, and then that's a whole other show you and I can do another day, closer in the summer. So this one here just came in earlier too, just before we wrap everything up. Nick Seeler of the Flyers re-upped his contract, 4 years, $10.8 million, which is 2.7, I believe, is the number he's got for the next 4 years. I've written quite a bit about Seeler. I felt that Seeler would have been a great fit in Toronto. That's my opinion. This kid is great in terms of snarl and anger and general play. He's very defensive. He's a stay-at-home defenseman. He's very, very good on that front, and he seems to fit well with the Flyers. So obviously that must be the reason why they got him, and the cap hit's not terrible at all. He was highly touted in the league as a guy that was going to be on the move, and it didn't happen. I think they just didn't want to let him go, right?
No, exactly. I would say when it comes to the Flyers, I think they're trying to revive the Broad Street Bullies. So, and I think Nick Seeler is going to be one of them.
Oh, he's a tough guy. He's a tough kid and plays. I watched a lot of his games. He will be a tough player to do. And this is I think this is as high as values he's ever been. Seeler is a good player in terms of what he brings to the defense in terms of toughness and all that. Now, he's not going to be a prolific goal scorer. He's not a point-getting defenseman. That's not what he's for. He's a big kid, and he's tough, and he will protect his net. So
exactly, you got to bring on the physicality. So
yeah, and that's very much Flyers style hockey. So, but anyway, I just wanted to bring that one in quick there. That was the last one for now. So, what do you think, Dan? What'd you think of this?
Oh, I mean, like, I loved it. There's obviously, like, I want to do this for quite a while now. So, like, I feel like this isn't going to be the first video. I'm sure like there's going to be more trades coming on, and it's just going to be a lot coming the next couple of days.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to do. So just so everyone knows, this is our first of many to come, as much as we can do. We're going to be, March break is coming up, so there'll be a few things people like. I'll be away, but is that we're going to do more videos like this. This was our first one that we tried, and it looks really good, and it's really great. You clearly are a natural at this, Dan. You fit in well with it. And
oh my, thank you.
Lots of great info and all that. And we're going to have our disagreements. We did a lot of yes today, but there's going to be disagreements, especially when Toronto and Montreal meet each other. And we're going to videos. That's a whole different video, and I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, I think this worked well. If you guys like what we're doing with the channel, please hit like or subscribe. We will do more content like this as we go. If you want to get notification of when we do more videos, hit the notification bell in the channel. If anything else major comes up, we'll continue with our shorts. But if there's, let's say, a big glut of trades like we've done now, we'll probably end up doing another one of these videos. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, Dan, for joining in and
my pleasure,
offering your thoughts. And we'll talk soon. And if anything else comes up, we'll let you know. And have a good night.
Yeah, you have a good night, guys.